Okay, I know that a lot of people don't like error analysis questions, but these are really good practice because when you're doing test corrections, for example, part of doing test corrections is figuring out where you went wrong. So when you are doing these error analysis questions in the book, my recommendation is to complete the problem on your own and then compare your work with what they did in the book and see where the difference is. So I'm just going to do that. I'm going to do 3/4 minus 9/2. And I'm just going to solve this on my own without looking at their work, and I'm going to decide I'm going to look to see where they went wrong. So the first thing that I see is I need common denominators. I'm going to write that on the side. I don't really want to move forward until I have a common denominator between these two fractions. So I have 4 and I have 2, and I'm looking for an easy way that I could use multiplication to get these numbers to be the same. And the easiest way that I can see is if I multiply the top and the bottom of the second fraction by 2, that'll give me a fraction where 4 is on the bottom for both fractions. So this gives me 18/4, and then this one gets to stay the same. So now I have a subtraction problem. I have two fractions with the same denominator on the bottom, and that makes things a lot easier for me. So now that I've got common denominators, I'm going to do this subtraction problem. We're just going to follow our steps for subtraction. And I think what is easiest when we're using fractions is to write this with what we're subtracting on top, and then we keep our bottom numbers exactly the same. The denominator stays the same. So now I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to look at this top part, the numerators, and I'm going to do the work of subtracting those numerators right here. So I've got 3 minus 18. I want to change that into addition. And I think I'm just going to shorthand it here. Change subtraction into addition, and I need the opposite of that second number. So changing my subtraction into addition, and then taking that second number and changing it to its opposite. So positive 18, the opposite is negative 18. I think yellow is a little hard to see, so let's change that. Negative 18. Okay. And then that first number is just going to stay the same. So now we do addition with different signs. And the way that we do that is we find the absolute value. We do big minus small. And then we use bigger sign. Okay, let's see if I can cram all of that in this little space. Okay, absolute value. The absolute value of 3 is 3. The absolute value of negative 18 is 18. I'm going to do big minus small. So this 3 is the small one. This 18 is the big one. So I need to do 18 minus 3. That gives me 15. And then I need to use the bigger sign. So 18 had the bigger absolute value, and that was negative in my addition problem. So this 15 needs to be negative 15. And all of that is in the orange box, which means that this fraction up here is going to be negative 15 over 4, negative 15 fourths. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to change this into an improper fraction or a mixed number. So I need to do division. 15 divided by 4. 4 goes into 15 3 times, right? Yeah. Minus 12, and there are 3 left over. So this mixed number is going to be 3 3/4, and that should be my answer. This should also be negative. Okay, so let's look at our work and see what they did in the book to figure out where they went wrong. And what they did is they took their subtraction problem and they did 3 minus 9 on the top, and then they did 4 minus 2 on the bottom. What did we do? The first thing we did was we found common denominators. So they made a mistake super early on. They did not find common denominators, so their subtraction was wrong. And yeah, that's pretty simple. Their mistake was so early on that we didn't even need to do all this work, but it's good practice, so I don't regret it.